Could it be? But me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to this Louie T Live exclusive. Khalil Mack being shipped off to Chicago. I want to hear from you guys. I've said everything I needed to say on my video talking about the trade. I've seen some comments from some of you on Twitter talking about how this deal is a good deal for both parties involved. Are you stupid? Are you crazy? So I need to hear from you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the phone lines. Twitter is available. If you don't have a good phone line, good reception, I'm not doing that today. And we only doing this for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes or so. But if you can't speak up clearly and we can't hear you and you're intelligible, then you got to go. All right. You're not intelligible, I should say. You got to go. I got to be able to hear you clearly. They got to be able to hear you clearly on the other side. So you need to turn your phone all the way up if you're going to call in. If you're going to address the show via the live chat, use the hashtag LouieTLive. If you're going to hit me up on Twitter, you can use one of two hashtags, hashtag LabRoomFam, or you can use hashtag WindyCityMac. Either way, I'll respond to it. So everything is open. I want to hear from Raiders fans. I want to hear from Bears fans in particular. But I'll hear from anybody. Again, speak up if you're going to call in. I need to hear you, and they need to hear you very clearly. So this isn't about me. I've already said what I needed to say. I want to hear from you guys. So it's open. Chat discussion is open. Twitter is open. Phone lines open. The number is at the top of the screen. Scrolling past. Hit me up. I want to hear from you guys. I've already said what I needed to say. Emperor Meat says, new term. That's that Raiders shit. Organization is full of clowns. We may have to dub that. That's that Raiders shit. I mean, honestly, I'm not going to even put this all on the entire, even though the Raiders organization is dysfunctional. That's that Gruden shit. He's come in and just turned that organization upside down, inside out. It's ridiculous. Vlad Tappan says, this made John Gruden the dumbest coach in NFL history. Man, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about this. This is crazy. I got to call him and take it. You're on live with your man, Louie T. Who am I speaking with?
B.E.
What's going on, B.E., man?
Honestly, when I woke up and I saw this, I was like, there's no way that just happened. For the Raiders, they're a shit show already, and it's not even the first week of the season. Gruden's going to destroy that team for the second time.
Yep.
For the Bears, I see this as a double-edged sword, but a win-win. You lose 2 first-round picks, which can help your team get better within the future. help your offensive line, whether it be or maybe another receiver or another defensive player. But also, and you have to pay Khalil Mack $23+ million a year. But also a win because you get Khalil Mack.
I'm about to say, B.E., I hear what you're saying, bro. But let's just say the Bears, because this makes them better. If we thought they were going to win 5 or 6 games before this, he's good for 2 to 3 wins because of how he changes the game. So you've got to...
he's good for 4 or 5 wins himself.
So you've got to assume that pick now isn't going to be top 5 or it's not going to be top 10. This is going to be a mid-first round pick at best, 15, 18, 19, somewhere in there. If they make the playoffs, you're in the 20s. Like, I understand that you don't want to give away first-round picks, but you're not going to draft Khalil Mack with those picks.
Oh, exactly, and that's why it's a double-edged sword, but also a win for the Bears because you get Khalil Mack. You're not going to find the talent he has in the draft right away because with the draft, you don't know who you're drafting.
Right.
You could get a guy like Khalil Mack or you could get a guy like Jamarcus Russell. With Khalil Mack, you know exactly what you're getting. He was, I want to say it was last year, 2 years ago, he made first-team All-Pro in 2 different positions as a defensive end and outside linebacker.
Right.
I want to say it was last year. I forgot exactly.
It was 2016 when he was defensive MVP.
Yeah, so it's like, you know exactly what you're getting. The Raiders, like I was telling one of my friends yesterday after Raiders fan, I'm like, the Raiders have two options. Sign him or trade him. There's no let's letting him walk in free agency and getting nothing. They have two options. They're between a rock and a hard place, and they chose, hey, you know, there's got to be something for him.
I'm at a loss, man. I never in my wildest dream thought this was going to happen. Because we had this conversation before, and I shut everybody. I'm like, the Raiders aren't that stupid. They're not going to do this. I was wrong.
What the Raiders were asking for, I did not think that anyone was going to do it. For the 2 first-round picks, I thought the price was too high for somebody to say, here's 2 first-round picks plus a player, I believe, is what the Raiders are getting.
This is crazy, man. Hey, BE, I appreciate you calling in, bro.
Cardinals offensive line better play perfect week 3. That's going to get ugly real quick.
Hey, appreciate you, BE, man.
Yeah.
Have a good one. All right, let's get to some more comments, man. Let me check Twitter real quick, see if there's anything on Twitter. This is crazy. So, use the hashtag, guys. But I see your comments, so I'm going to read them anyway. At AlleySide32697659 says, Lou, I just want to say it sucks to be a Raiders fan. We about to be a meme for at least 3 years, laughing my ass off. I wouldn't even trade him for 3 first-round picks. The man is the heart and soul of our team. Damn. I got another one from a Raiders fan. At Dre the Great X says, as a Raiders fan, I'm upset, but remember the Raiders were still dead last on defense with Mack when he won Defensive Player of the Year. Team greater than player. Hashtag believe in Carr. So if you want to spin it as a Raiders fan in a positive direction, that's how you do it, but it's still garbage because you weren't last in defense because of Mack. He was the only thing keeping you from being historically bad. You were just bad. You weren't historically bad, okay? But he was supposed to be one of the pieces that was going to help you go from being once the worst defense in the league to now one of the best defenses in the league. Hard to do that when you don't have someone that can bag quarterbacks. Hard to do that when you don't have a great player on defense. Right now, you don't have a great player on defense. You don't have a guy that represents Raider defense, okay? You had a guy that not only represented your defense, but your entire organization is one of the best players in the league in Khalil Mack. I understand where you're coming from and how you're trying to change the narrative to, hey, we believe in the team, but you botched this. There's no other way to say this. You botched it. So I've already said what I need to say. I don't want to go off on a tangent and not get your guys' comments, you guys' comment. The Gaming Angel says, if I'm Derek Carr, I go to Gruden and yell at him. You know, Derek Carr and Khalil Mack were like best friends. So Mack never thought he was going to be traded. And Carr said all along, this is going to get done. When Carr first showed up to camp and they asked him about Khalil Mack, he said, I'm not worried. He was just at my house shooting pool with me the other day. He'll be in eventually. They'll get it done. I'm not worried. And things just went totally right. Gosh, who saw that coming? And not right as in right. I don't say left because I'm left-handed. I don't like that negative connotation. But things couldn't have went any worse than what they did. Eric Spencer says, how long do you think it'll take for Raiders fans to burn down the city? They're not good. It's a big deal, but it's not that big of a deal. They've been hurt so many times. When you're when you're a fan base of an organization that's dysfunctional, you hit lows and then you think you can't get any lower and then you hit a new low. This isn't the lowest they've ever been. Things have happened to them way worse than this. The Tuck rule was way worse than this. You know, they've had things that happen. Jamarcus Russell sucking was way worse than this. So, but this is bad. This is really, really bad. Oh, got a call. Gonna go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man Louie T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Louie, you're speaking to Patrick, a.k.a. Pamil Productions. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man? What's going on with you?
Nothing much, actually. On vacation right now and looked at my phone. I saw Khalil Mack got traded, and I'm shocked.
You should be.
because I'm a Steeler fan, and I was looking at that Raider game on the schedule, and I was kind of really nervous about it. But now it's like, oof, thank God.
A lot of people are saying that either way. Either you got the Bears on the schedule, you're like, shit, got the Bears, that's going to be tough. Or you're saying, yes, had the Raiders, that's going to make it a lot easier on my offensive line not having to face him. It's just crazy that this took place. It makes the AFC a much safer place when you don't have to worry about both Von Miller and Khalil Mack and that duo in Los Angeles. The AFC West just took a nice deep breath and a nice sigh of relief.
Oh, definitely. I was even considering the Raiders actually winning the division, as crazy as that sounds in my preseason predictions, but now that's out the window. That's definitely out the window, no question about it. But for the Raiders, I mean, they gained two first-round picks, but like you said earlier, it's not going to be Khalil Mack.
Right.
So it's like you got the new head coach, and everything was supposed to go up, and I'm not understanding why would you do this.
I mean, I can't wrap my brain. Again, I understand that you didn't have the money, but look, I understand what happened. They didn't have the money. They didn't have the capital to get this done. And it's not like Mac didn't want to be there. I think it was just a simple case of you botched this situation by overspending on players over the last 3 years, and you put yourself in a predicament, and now you couldn't get yourself out of it, and you had to do something. So they had to get something for him.
Definitely. I mean, there was smoke, and as the week goes on, it was going to become fire by the trade deadline. Yep. But if I'm a Bears fan, and I have a great friend of mine who's a Bears fan, you must be happy as all can be, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Happy as all can be. Because right now they were a fringe playoff team, but now you never know. They could even make the playoffs.
Exactly. You just don't know now with this acquisition, and we still haven't seen Roquan Smith on that defense. They could be really good on the defensive side of the football now. I mean, this changes things for them in the best way possible, and you couldn't imagine this happening just a week prior to the season, but it did.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. I mean, in the NFC now, I have no idea who's going to take it now. I mean, I know it's a long shot to say, the NFC is going to go to the Bears, but, I mean, if you have the pass rush, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you saw in the Super Bowl last year, and, I mean, I'm a loss for words right now, to be honest.
Hey, P Square, man, appreciate you checking in, man. Long time I ain't heard from you, so it's good to hear from you, man. Don't be a stranger, all right?
All right, man.
Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your vacay, too, man.
Thank you, man. Love the channel.
Hey, appreciate it. So, I don't think this is going to make the Bears all of a sudden a division crown type of team in 2018. What it does do, though, is it does change the expectations of this Bears football team. They were, 5-11, 6-10 team in my mind. I can't speak for anybody else. I know some people that thought the Bears would be one of those surprise teams this year that jumps up and goes, 10-6, 11-5, a la the Los Angeles Rams last year with a new, first-year head coach that's a offensive-minded guy with a young second-year quarterback. It looks eerily similar to what the Rams did last year. They've got the backs in the backfield. They've got the situation with the quarterback and the coach. You look at the moves they made in the offseason. Everything is pointing upward for the Bears. Now, all of a sudden, you add Khalil Mack, you add in Roquan Smith, you look at all the pieces that they have defensively, and it's starting to all come together. You're saying to yourself, do these guys got a shot to make the postseason now? 9-7? Is that realistic for the Bears now, all of a sudden? I don't know. We'll see. Atlas says, oh my effing God, LOL. It can't be denied, Lou. Chucky Boy is getting paid $100 million for the chance to sabotage the team that traded him. Fired coach club never forgets. He's coming for my Bucks next. It seems that way, doesn't it? Like, he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get these bastards from the inside. I am going to destruct this organization, and they're not even gonna see it coming, and they're gonna pay me to do it. That sounds like what's happening. That can't be what's happening, but damn it, it feels like that's what's happening right now. I can say that. Vlad Tepes says, Bruce Irvin is regretting his decision to sign with the Raiders rather than Atlanta. Hashtag, to quote him from Twitter, "You're effing joking. He is upset. He should be, because Bruce Irvin without Khalil Mack is macaroni without cheese. Like I don't want your macaroni by itself. Okay? Just like when I go to a Chinese restaurant, when I used to, before I was vegan, I don't want your white rice, man. You can keep that box of white rice. I'm not gonna eat it. Okay? I don't want it. You can have it. If I'm a fan of the Raiders, I don't want Bruce Irvin without Khalil Mack. You can keep Bruce Irvin. I'm good. What is he going to do for me? So, yeah, he should be pissed off. Andrew Shirley says, honestly, sounds like the Raiders took the easy way out. I feel that way too. Because if I'm the Raiders, in this situation, I'm going to tell Khalil Mack, look, you may not want to hear from us and you may not be picking up our calls. You're not going anywhere, bro. You're not going. And I know the logical thing is to just say, hey, we're going to get something for him and move on. That's cool. But I'm not trading away a generational talent. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. A guy that's not even in the prime of his career, I'm not doing it. Okay? So we're going to have to sit down and we're going to have to figure some things out. And we're going to find a way to get the money that we need to make you happy. But you're not going anywhere. You're not putting on another uniform, at least for the next 5 to 7 years. You know? Shit happens, though. I feel like they took the easy way out, too. I agree with you. Wholeheartedly. Atlas says, the Raiders' excuse for lunacy is frankly ridiculous. They paid $100 million to a coach that has hated them down to his bones since they traded him, and they can't shell out for Mack. BE says, oh, Lord. I can't with you. DJ Smith says, please let this be a joke. Gruden got $10 million a year for 10 years and give Khalil his money, but it don't change my outlook for my Raiders. He said, my love for my Raiders, but silly mistake if true. Oh, it's true. All right. This move is happening, bruh. Gotta call him and go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man, Louie T. Who am I speaking with?
You are speaking to Jared, a.k.a. JCamman99.
What's going on, JCam, man? What's good with you?
Not too much here. No, I wanted to give you a little opinion on the whole trade.
Okay.
I agree completely with you that, like, in the short term, it's like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. But in the long term, I could see it being beneficial to the Raiders. Like, if the Bears continue to screw up and they get, like, 2 first-round picks for it, like, in the future, I could see this reflecting as, like, a horrible
in what way? Like, if the Bears go 3-13 and that's the 4th overall pick, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like that. That happens a couple times.
Okay. I mean, do you honestly see that happening?
I don't know. I mean,
I guess you could. I guess, you know what, JCam, man. I guess you could. We don't know what this coronation of the Bears looks like with their head coach, right, with Matt Nagy and Mitchell Trubisky. We don't know what this looks like. And so they could be a bad team. We could be overestimating how good the Bears are, and they could stink again. You're right. Right.
I mean, I think what's just more so interesting is just, like, the overall theme here is how bad Gruden's return to the NFL has been. I never thought it was going to be that great, but I didn't expect it to go this bad. And you're right. He's doing exactly what he did when he left. He's returning the team to a bunch of old players, which is going to sink the Raiders for another 10 years. Yeah. And it's just like, and I feel like his mind is where it has been. But I think my bigger point, though, is I've been watching his just draft analysis. Like, if you watch the beginning of the draft before the first pick, that's when Gruden used to have a lot of time to talk about who he thought the first pick was going to be. And year after year, his analysis was just so off. And I remember thinking, like, thank God he's out of coaching. So, I mean, a lot of this doesn't surprise me that much, but not like this, though. You would think keep your best player would be, you know, a given. But nope.
I'm so with you on that. And, hey, thanks for the call, JCam, man. Appreciate you chiming in, bro.
Yeah, you got it.
Hey, man, have a good one.
You too, bye-bye.
It's amazing. He's right, though. When you would watch John Gruden on his show that he had with the quarterbacks, I always felt like he knows what he's talking about, but he seemed a little off in his analysis. And I know the guy knows football, you know, but it just amazes me that he's been around the game this entire time. It's not like he was off somewhere, you know, fishing and wasn't paying attention to the league and was just enjoying life. The guy was entrenched in football still. He was meeting with coaches and teams every week for the last 8 years on Monday Night Football, and yet he comes back and it's almost like he just doesn't get it. Like, he doesn't realize the NFL has evolved, it's changed, and there's certain things that have to be done for you to be a good football team, and one of them is player relations, and you got to find a way to keep your best players. I don't understand. Emperor Meat says, the Raiders play the Rams week 1, 2, and with no Mac, the shit is going to be ugly for the defense. It's about to be Saints level bad before this past season. Yeah, it could get ugly week 1. Week 1 might not be the only week things get ugly for that Raiders defense. If maybe the Raiders are hiding something. Maybe they know something that we don't. Maybe they're going to be a much better team than we're giving them credit for, with or without Mac. But if we think, and I'm pretty sure we all feel like the Raiders defense wasn't that good with Mac in the fold, without him, I can't imagine it getting any better. This isn't a addition by subtraction type of equation here. You don't get better by getting rid of a player like Khalil Mack, who not only was a great football player on the field, but was just as good a guy off the field and in the locker room as you could possibly ask for. So I don't think this is one of those addition by subtraction situations. You don't gain anything by Khalil Mack not being on your roster. Jabril Adibi says, what the f are the Raiders doing? I think rumors of the Raiders didn't have money to pay him might be true. If this is because of John Gruden's ego, then this is stupid. It's a combination of a number of things. Gruden was in his feelings. He was in his feelings because Mac wouldn't pick up the phone, wouldn't return his calls. So he was in his feelings. But as a coach, you have to do what's best. You got to put your ego aside, all right? Put your pride aside, and you have to do whatever is best for your organization and for the greater good of your football team, and that is having Khalil Mack on your team. So if you're in your feelings, get out of them, and you find a way to mend fences, and you find a way to get the money that's necessary to get this man to sign on the dotted line. And I've already chronicled the Raiders frivolously spending money, so I'm not going to do that here. I've done that already. And as my man B3 said, don't forget to like the video. Long Meat, pause, says, like I said before, Khalil Mack, Minnesota 13-3, Bears 10-6. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Packers 8-8, Lions 5-11. He did say that Khalil Mack was coming to the division, and he said the Bears were going to go, or at least he said, I'm not sure if he predicted this trade, but he predicted Bears were going 10-6, and we all laughed him out of the video. And he's just back to make sure that we understand that he wasn't playing then, and now that Mack is a part of the Bears, he's not playing now. So let me check Twitter real quick. Make sure I ain't missed nothing there. And even Derek Carr is just blown away by this. He tweeted, no way. Like, he can't even believe it. He's even in disbelief of what is taking place. And when your best player, when your team leader is in disagreement and disbelief because his best friend just got traded, and his best friend was also the best player on the team and one of the best players in the league, it just doesn't make sense. Double A says, crap sucks. Hate everything about this trade. Well, I guess it's better than if he went to the Pack. Double A is a Vikings fan, so shit just got real in the division. DJ Smith says, as a Raider fan, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, possibly not trading and just paying on the other hand our draft class and free agency. So I don't like the trade. He said it's essentially a situation where he wants to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it's just so hard to do. It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Double A says, Gruden is the 2018 Chip Kelly. That's exactly what it feels like right now. Now, Kelly was getting rid of all of the players. That's not exactly what Gruden is doing. But this is the equivalent of Shady McCoy being traded. this is the equivalent of Deshaun Jackson being released combined. That's what Mack was. Deshaun Jackson and Shady McCoy in one is the value of what a Khalil Mack brings to the table. So, yeah, this kind of feels eerily similar to what Chip Kelly did when he first came on board. It feels eerily similar to what, and probably more apt comparison to what Josh McDaniels did when he came into Denver, trading Jay Cutler and trading Brandon Marshall. This is what this kind of feels like. Boba Sis says, wow, really? Yeah, really. The Gaming Angel says, what does this do to the Raiders locker room? It can't be good. It can't be a cohesive measure for this locker room, because you heard the reaction of the quarterback who just got a massive deal to be the face of your franchise for the foreseeable future. You heard what someone said that defensive end Bruce Irvin said on Twitter. These guys can't be happy, and this is the message and the precedence you set when you do something like this. On one hand, Gruden is saying to the players, look, if you don't communicate with us, if you think you're going to strong-arm us, you're wrong. This is what will happen to you. If we'll do it to Mac, we'll do it to anybody in this locker room. So on one hand, it does sort of keep everybody on the straight and narrow in the locker room, because if they'll do it to Mac, they'll do it to you. You know, no one in this locker room is better than Khalil Mack. There are few in the league better than him at any position, irregardless of position. So if they'll do it to him, best believe they'll do it to your ass. But on the other side of that, and what probably rings more true than that, are the players saying, hell, what do you have to do to get paid in this locker room? If a guy like Khalil Mack, who all he did was be the best player in the league for a stretch, all he did was go first team All-Pro at 2 different positions in 1 year. All he did was win defensive MVP. All he did was be a model citizen on and off the field, and he got traded. And he couldn't get his money here by the team that drafted him. What does that say to the players in the locker room? I don't know. You tell me. Getting to some more comments. Remember, you can hit me up on the phone lines. You can hit me up on Twitter. All the information you need is scrolling across the top of the screen. Double A says, what did the Bears give up for one of the best defensive players in the league? Right now, I think it's going to be more compensation involved. But right now, 2 first-round picks. That's all we know is going to be the start of the deal. It could be the start and the end of the deal. I'm thinking that there's something else in there. Maybe a player thrown in, maybe like a 3rd-round pick in 2019 and a player 2, or maybe just a player, or maybe just a 3rd round and a 5th round or something like that. There's going to be something extra, I think. I don't think 2 first rounds is going to be it, but we'll see when it's all said and done. Thomas S. says, how long is the leash Gruden is on before he gets fired? The guy signed a 10-year deal for $100 million. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Like, you can't fire a guy after he signs a 10-year deal, because you'll be paying him for the next 10 years. It'll almost be like a Bobby Bonilla type contract for the NFL. Like, you can't get rid of John Gruden now. He's a part of this organization, whether you like it or not, at least for the next 5 to 6 years, minimum. Farrah Cody says, Redskins should have traded Preston Smith in a 2nd rounder for Matt. That wouldn't have been enough. Not nearly enough. Preston Smith isn't good enough, and a 2nd-round pick isn't even in the ballpark. Skins Tribe says, I want to leave the NFC right now, Lou. Let's get our things and go to the AFC. I'm all for it, man. I'd love to go to like the NFC or AFC South. I'd love to take my hand at that division, or hell, I'd even like to get some of that AFC West action, even though I wouldn't like going up against that Chargers defense and the Broncos defense twice a year. But that division's wide open. I'd love to go over there and try my hand at what they got going on. So, yeah, let's pack our things up and let's go. Much faster than slow. Gregory Lightbody says, which is worse, Jay or John Gruden? Is that even a question? Is that even a question? Right now? The only thing that John has that Jay doesn't is a Super Bowl ring, but John Gruden has come back in 2.0 Gruden. He's making an ass out of himself right now. Now, again, he could change all of this by the Raiders winning. If the Raiders win, all of us look stupid, and John Gruden looks like a genius. But if this shit hits the fan and the Raiders go 4-12, 5-11 this year, John Gruden 2.0 stinks right now. It stinks. Likely Phenomenon says, don't end the live stream yet, Lou. I'll be calling in. I'll be waiting. let's see, we've been doing this for 32 minutes. I probably got another 10, 15 minutes in me. So if you're going to call in, you better hurry up. Long Meat says, pause. To be honest, I'd rather have Mack on the Packers than the Bears. Now we have one more team to worry about. Yeah, you're right. Because at least the Bears, I mean, at least if you were on the Packers, you'd look up and say, damn, they got better, but they were already good anyway, you know. Now, you adding him to the Bears makes the Bears a competitive team more so than they already were. Now they're a legit competitive team in the division. You can't just gloss, like, week 1 just got real for the Packers. They're looking around like, shit, you couldn't have waited until week 3 to have this trade go through? We got to deal with this bastard on Sunday Night Football week 1? God damn it, man. Yeah, you got to deal with this bastard. So, shit just got real in the NFC North, if it wasn't real enough already. Got to call him and take it. You're on live with your man, Louie T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Louie, JP. How you doing, man?
What's going on, JP? I'm going to need you to turn that phone up, bro. If you can't get it loud, I'm going to have to go.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, you all good, bro. It's all good. Talk, JP. Yeah. I know you see it. And
man.
You've been all over this, JP. Let me give you some credit first, though. Because you've been talking about this Mack trade for about 2 months, and I kept blowing you off, saying it wasn't going to happen because I didn't think the Raiders were dumb enough. You talked about this trade, and it happened. JP, give me your initial reaction to this trade, and what are your thoughts on Mack going to the Bears?
Damn, man, this is insane. I could not believe that I didn't expect this to happen so quickly with the season just a month, with just 1 week, literally a week away.
Mm-hmm.
And now the Bears are getting a once-in-a-lifetime player in Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
The fact that he's going to make this Bears defense really good, you put him on that defense with Roquan Smith, Danny Trevathan, and all those guys, you got a damn good defense.
Yeah.
And I think the Bears are definitely making the playoffs now. You heard it here first. Bears are making the playoffs. You heard it here first. Damn it, but
I hear you, JP.
Bears, oh my God, man.
And I know you wanted him bad, but the Redskins couldn't afford to pay him what he was looking for anyway. You know, you would have to have the cap space necessary to do what it is the Bears are going to ultimately do, which is make him the highest paid player on the defensive side of the football in NFL history. And so we didn't have the I mean, we had the space technically, but I don't think the Redskins would have been able to invest in Khalil Mack the way that the Bears are going to be able to do it. Remember, the Bears, and you can only do this if you're a team that hasn't paid a quarterback yet. You know, Mitchell Trubisky's still on his rookie deal and going to be there for quite some time. That's why Seattle had all the money to do the things that they did for such a long time, because they hadn't paid Russell Wilson. Once they paid Wilson, now you see guys are starting to go. You see Jacksonville making all the moves they've made the last few off seasons. Why? Because they hadn't paid Blake Bortles, and then when they did pay him, he didn't get a ton of money. So same thing with the Rams. You see what they're doing and all the guys that they've been able to pay. Yeah, because Jared Goff's on a rookie deal. You got to have a situation that's conducive to being able to sign one of these guys. And so this is a great move for the Bears.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're a playoff team like you have declared, but they're going to be a much better team than we all thought going into the season now.
Yeah, I will say this. You said it multiple times. Pass rushers like Khalil Mack don't come around very often.
Right.
The fact that they were able to get this guy about to go into his second contract?
Yeah, this is his first contract he's on. He's about to get his second contract. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This is going to take the pressure off the Bears' offense to score so much, because now that defense is going to be much better. I think they're going to upgrade that defense a little bit more in the draft, free agency. You got a cornerstone, and we know the Bears have a history of getting great defensive players. When you think of the Bears' defense, you think of Mike Singletary, Dan Hampton, Richard Dent, and all those guys. And the fact that now you get Roquan Smith and Khalil Mack, man, that's going to be a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks.
It could be a long season for some teams in the NFC now with this move, man. It's crazy that it happened.
Thank God we don't have to play the Bears. Oh, my goodness.
We might have to play. We're going to have to play them in the future. We can't avoid them now, so we'll see what happens. But, hey, JP, man, thanks for calling in, bro. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Take it easy, bro.
All right.
I mean, this is so wild. You know what I mean? Because it changes the fortunes of so many teams. So many teams are impacted by this deal. I mean, the Bears obviously got better. I don't care what anybody says. To hell with the 2 first-round picks. You got Khalil Mack. You got Khalil Mack. Do you understand what that means? This man hasn't even hit his peak yet. And he's already won defensive MVP. He's already been a 2-time All-Pro. Okay? And then you look at the Raiders side of things. You got worse, but we'll see what those first-round picks amount to, and we'll see what happens with the Raiders. We can't tell just exactly how this is going to turn out for them, but I can't imagine it turning out well for them. And then you look at the rest of the teams in the NFC North, you're saying, shit, what the hell, man? So, you know, it's a crazy situation. It impacts many teams, not just the 2 teams involved in the deal. Got a call, going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man, Louie T. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking with Double A. How's it going, Louie?
What's going on, Double A?
You know, trying to get through the day.
I hear you, bro. I know this is a little rough because your division just got a lot tougher with this move.
Oh, my God. I was already a little bit nervous about the Bears, and now this.
And you had actually said that. You said, man, I'm a little wary about these Bears. They're not the same Bears I got accustomed to smacking around twice a year. This is a little different. After the draft, exactly. You said this is a different Bears team, and now all of a sudden, you look at their offseason, you look at their draft. I think their coach might be one of those Sean McVay types in terms of offensive gurus. And now you add Khalil Mack to the mix. Oh, shit. Here come the Bears.
Shit got real.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Quick. Exactly. Exactly.
Well, whatever. You know what the good thing is? It's that much less of a chance that Green Bay is going to come back and take this division. I don't care. I hate them. Whoops, sorry.
All right, so you think that it will impact the Packers more than you guys?
I don't know. I think it might go split each way. All 3 of us now.
Yeah.
Khalil Mack, he's a big impact. I'm a Vikings fan through and through, but Jesus, Mack girl. At least the Packers get him week 1 where he ain't quite caught up to everything.
I mean, look, pass rushing is an art, and it's a science that this guy already has down. I mean, there's still things I think he can learn and be better at, but I mean, it's not like he's got to come in and learn plays like on the offensive side of football. Basically, they're like, hey, go get the quarterback. You know what I mean? So it's 3rd and 8.
Right.
Go get the quarterback. You know, so there may be a couple of calls defensively that he's not, you know, familiar with, and you know, a few things that they might have to coach him up on. But I mean, he can learn that stuff on the fly. But bottom line is, the guy, what he has, you can't teach. And so even week 1, he's still going to be a problem.
Oh yeah. He's going to be a problem for years. They're renewing his deal. They're giving him the extension and the money. Oh, he's going to be here for a while.
Yep. Hey, Double A, man, I appreciate you chiming in, bruh. Good luck to you.
One quick thing.
Go ahead.
One quick thing. This reminds me of the Jared Allen trade back in the day.
Yeah, was Allen still on his first? He wasn't still on his first deal, though, was he?
Yeah, he was.
Really?
They franchise tagged him and traded him.
Oh, that's right. When they traded him to Kansas City, when Kansas City traded him over to you guys.
Yeah,
that's
this
right.
Reminds me a lot of that.
Wow, but this is a different animal here in Mac, though.
Oh, they're both generational talents.
Yeah, I mean, I think we underrate just how good Jared Allen was.
I don't, but
I know you don't, because he played for your team. So
yeah.
Hey man, Double A, appreciate it.
Yeah, man. You have a good day.
Likewise.
Have a good weekend.
All right. I know you were trying to call in Likely Phenomenon, man. Hit me back. K. Michelle says, I said it right. Says, this offseason has shown which teams are all in for the chip. Rams example of a team doing the right thing with Donald, Raiders going backwards. I couldn't agree with you more. You know, and the Rams did it the right way. They made sure that they had enough for their generational talent. You got to make sure that you got enough in the bank for your generation. It's cool to pay everybody. It's cool to pay all these other dudes. The Rams went and gave Rob Havenstein some money. They read up on running back Todd Gurley. They gave Sue a 1-year, $14 million deal. They're handing out all this bread. Gave Cooks a new deal, traded for him, gave him a new deal. It's cool to do all of that, but you better have money for your generational talent. So it's not cool when you go give money to all of these dudes. You paying Gabe Jackson before Khalil Mack. You going out and paying money to all these different people, to Rodney Hudson, to Kelechi Osemele. You paying all these guys money, going out getting Bruce Irvin. You doing all of this stuff, and you ain't got money for your generational talent? I know you had to pay Derek Carr, but you better make sure you got enough. Before you start paying all these randoms, you better make sure you got enough for your generational talent. You didn't do that. That's where you effed up. Let's keep going, though. Sports and Stuff says, NFC is like the NBA Western Conference. Every team in the NFC is good. I actually did a segment on my podcast about that. I talked about that very thing on the Louie T Network podcast. Check it out. I talked about that. I had that discussion already. I asked the question, is the NFC the NBA's version of the Western Conference? I had that discussion a month ago. Blackbird Blitz says, I truly believe the NFC South was the best division in football. Khalil Mack to the Bears changes things. The NFC North is looking scary right now. I don't disagree with that at all. You're on live with your man Louie T. Who am I speaking with?
What's going on, Lou?
What's going on with you, bro?
I'm chilling, man.
Talk to me about this deal. So nobody's even, you know what's so funny? You know what's funny? And I'm going to need you to make sure, you sound like you're outside or something. You good? We good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. It's funny because we're having this discussion about the Bears and Khalil Mack and the division. Not one person has brought up Detroit. Not one. No one's talking about you. Everybody's overlooking you. No one cares about the Lions.
Now, mind you, of course, I am worried about Khalil Mack. This is the same player that is joining a defense that just recently one of their players' helmets ended up on my quarterback's hand and affected our season a couple years ago.
Yep.
Now, this guy, what people don't understand is John Gruden, for all the talk on Monday Night Football, and you know the Lions been on there a couple times. I'm gonna be on there again this year. But as I was saying, he obviously can't apply it to the business aspect of the NFL. When it comes to broadcasting, yeah, he can talk it, but when it's time to apply it and pay an all-time generational Defensive Player of the Year, life-changing, franchise-altering player, you trade him away for a Snickers bar and a bag of Twizzlers? Are you kidding me? I mean, are you kidding me?
It's unbelievable, man. I like I said, I didn't even entertain this. My man JP for 2 months kept berating me with questions about Mack and the trade. I'm like, bruh, it's not happening. Stop talking about it. The Raiders aren't stupid. You don't get these players. They don't grow on trees. They're not trading them.
Then they hired John Gruden and became stupid again.
I am so unbelievably surprised and disappointed. And I don't know why I am, because this is something that the Raiders organization would do. I mean, it takes a dysfunctional organization like the Raiders, like the Browns before, with what they've done in the past.
At first, it was like the good look in the grocery store. You know, you're trying to find the one in the back with the best steak and all that. Nah, they the milk that's been sitting in your refrigerator for a couple of weeks that done went spoiled.
Yeah.
You don't even want to touch. You don't even want to touch the Raiders right now.
Remember, just 2 years ago, there were Derek Carr injury in Week 16 from being a real threat to the New England Patriots.
They was just a playoff team for the next 10 years.
Exactly.
Now, y'all are first, second, third overall picks for the next 10 years.
I don't know if
And
it's that
none of
long,
them are
but it's going to be.
None of them are going to be the Bears, though. I tell you that.
Yeah, you're right. They're not going to come from Chicago. I think Chicago's going to be better because of this. And like I said, worst case scenario,
But
it's a mid-first round pick.
The question is, this does change my prediction, but it doesn't change that much. I see the Bears going. You know, he makes them now. They still got some dysfunctional pieces that they got to sort through, and it's going to take them a couple years to get over bad contracts that's still on the roster right now. So I'll give them about 8-8, possibly 9-7.
Right, that's what I see.
You know, because he can't change life overnight.
Right,
he's gonna alter the season, of course.
Right, I agree with you.
He's not gonna change life overnight.
Right, and that's
not
what I
gonna
was
all
saying.
of a sudden win the Super Bowl. So Bears fans, calm down. Celebrate, toast, but calm down. Don't go burning and rioting and all of that. Y'all ain't won a Super Bowl. Y'all not winning it this year. Calm down.
Hey, Likely Phenomenon, always bringing the heat, bro. I appreciate you and your opinions and your takes, man. Have a good one, bro.
No problem, Lou. Always.
Hey, that was awesome. We're pretty much in sync with one another. I don't think that, like, I'm hearing people talk reckless, and maybe it's not reckless, because this is the thing. We still don't know what this coordination of the Chicago Bears looks like with Matt Nagy as the head coach, with Mitchell Trubisky in a new system. We don't know if he's able to do what I think he's going to be able to do, which is turn them into the NFC's version of the Kansas City Chiefs, with a tight end that they feel really good about in Trey Burton, and a running back that can be just as dynamic as Tyreek Hill and Tariq Cohen, that you can do so many different things with. A running back that can fill that the running back that they had last year that was the leading rusher in the NFL out of Toledo, Kareem Hunt. They got Jordan Howard to fill that role. They might even be better at it than that of Kareem Hunt. And then they feel like they've got some stuff at receiver, you know, that are game changers. If Allen Robinson is what he was 2 years ago, wow. If Anthony Miller is what I think he is going to be, wow. And they got a nice little jitterbug piece from the Atlanta Falcons. So all of a sudden now, you look at that roster and you're saying to yourself, they got some stuff. And I told you, Javon Wims, I'm not playing about Javon Wims. I done said this already. Y'all gonna find out sooner rather than later. Nonetheless, Boba Sis says, sucks for the Raiders fans. They're gonna have to deal with these shenanigans for the next decade. Yikes. Sometimes, as a fan of another team, you just look at another team and say, wow, I'm so glad I'm not a fan of that. And it's rare. You know what I mean? It's rare. Me being a Redskins fan, I can't look at nobody and say shit. I can't say nothing. Because we've been dysfunctional for years. For decades. We haven't been relevant consistently since the 80s. Early 90s. And when I say early 90s, I'm talking first 2 years of the 90s. We haven't been relevant since then. We've been dysfunctional from that point on. Since Joe Gibbs 1.0, we've been dysfunctional. Even when Joe came back, we were functionally dysfunctional. So I can't look at anybody else and point the finger, because that's the pot calling the kettle black. I can't do that. But this is one of those times that as a fan, I actually get to look around. Damn, I'm glad I'm not an Oakland Raiders fan right now. Sucks. Double A says the black and blue division is going to be insane this year. Agreed. K. Michelle says this trade reminds me of a Pats move. Gruden must feel he has the next TD12. You mean TB12? He's got to feel some kind of way. I almost feel like he feels like he knows something that we don't. Because I can't explain it any other way. I just can't. So I don't know what else to say. This one threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting this. Let me check Twitter real quick because I've been neglecting Twitter. My man at Nick Riley, my man at nriley _24_01 says, just seen this, just woke up, happy it isn't the Packers, not worried about the Bears. So unlike someone else who said they wish it was the Packers, so that it would be one less good team in the division, he's at the polar opposite end of the spectrum. He said, I'm not worried. It's the Bears. So we'll see. He says, I still got them at the bottom of the division. So we'll see how that works out for them. Long Meat Pause says, I think this makes the NFC North better than the NFC South. We'll see. I don't want to overrate Matt Nagy yet. We don't know what he is. We know all of the entities in the NFC South. We can account for them. We know that Sean Payton with Drew Brees equals dangerous. And now that they can play defense, we know that that's an outfit that can take it the distance if everything falls their way. We know what Atlanta is. They were one bad quarter, one bad half of football away from beating the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So we know what Dan Quinn and that group looks like. We can account for that. We know what Carolina is. Just 3 years ago, they were in the Super Bowl. Okay? They were the best team in football 3 years ago. We know what that can be when they're right. So I can account for the South. I know what that looks like. In the North, we know Green Bay when Rodgers is healthy, which of late we can't count on, but we know that when he's healthy, they're dangerous. And we know about the Vikings, but we don't know about this version of the Vikings with Kirk Cousins. So I won't do that. I won't put this division ahead of the NFC North. I won't do it, or the South, excuse me. I won't do that. I'm going to keep the South right where it is as a very competitive division. And don't forget about the Lions. We dismissed the Lions, but they've got a new head coach. They've got a lot of moving parts. New defensive coordinator, a lot of things going on in Detroit. I'm not willing to put the NFC North over the NFC South. I'm just not willing to do that right now. Black Al B says, as long as he didn't go to Green Bay, he's good with it. So another Vikings fan pretty much dismissing the Bears as, hey, they're not ready yet. They the Bears. We good. As long as he didn't go to Green Bay, we straight. Thomas S. says, as an Eagles fan, I would enjoy sending you to the AFC because the Redskins tend to be a thorn in our side. We were until last year. But yes, we've had success against the Eagles in the past, but last year they swept our ass, so we got to try to get some get back this year. Farrah Cody says, no. Still not enough. Geo Bove says, you got Mac, Vaughn, or Donald. So me and one of my best friends is a Raiders fan. That's why I feel like I can speak about the Raiders so candidly. Because no, I'm not a fan of the Raiders, but my best friend is, and he follows the day-to-day of the Oakland Raiders. He's all over this team. You would think he was a beat writer or something. So he's all entrenched in every move that the Raiders make. So we have the conversation all the time. If you're starting an NFL franchise, who's the first player you're taking on the defensive side of the football? And really, for me, it comes down to two players. You're either taking Khalil Mack or you're taking Aaron Donald. Never, ever trust a man with two first names. One of the two. You're not taking Von Miller because of the age. Von Miller's a little bit older than those two. Those guys are in the prime of their careers. You could argue that Khalil Mack and Donald still haven't hit their apex yet. But those guys are much younger than Von Miller. And so I'd take one of those two. I'd probably take Aaron Donald just because it's so tough to find a guy that can do what he does from the interior defensive line. You might get lucky and find an edge rusher like a Justin Houston in the third round that can get you, 12 to 14 sacks and be good with that. It's so rare to find what Aaron Donald. There isn't another Aaron Donald in the league. The closest thing you're going to get is Geno Atkins when he's healthy. I mean, even Fletcher Cox, as good as he's been, I don't know if Fletcher Cox has a double-digit sack season to his name yet. And the guy's dominant, and it's coming. He's going to get a double-digit sack season if he doesn't have one already. But even if he has one, it's a 10.5 type of sack season. It's not 14.5, 16 sacks like Aaron Donald's putting up. I mean, this guy's dominant, and he changes games from the defensive tackle position, which is so rare in this league. So I'd have to say I'd take Aaron Donald. But if you took Mack, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I wouldn't argue with you either. See what we got. Let me check Twitter real quick. Nothing there. Let's go back up to the comment section. And let's see where we left off. Right here. Long Meat Pause says, the Bears are like that little cousin that you used to bully a year ago. Then he hits a growth spurt and bullies you. That could be the case. I don't necessarily know if that's the situation yet. But it could be that. It could be a situation where you used to pump the Bears. They were easy, couple of wins. And now all of a sudden, you're fighting tooth and nail with these dudes. And they splitting with you or they getting you twice. This first game versus Green Bay is going to be so intriguing now. That game just got exponentially better. There's a totally different angle now and storyline to Sunday Night Football Week 1 than it was before this deal was consummated. Let me check to make sure that nothing about the deal has come down quite yet. All right, nothing extra has come down as far as the deal is concerned. Double A says, I love your podcast, man. I appreciate that. And the podcast will be back up and running this week. I had so much going on, but start of the season, restarting of the podcast. So be on the lookout for that. Every Wednesday, brand new Louie T Network podcast coming at you guys. So if you haven't already done so, go ahead and get the podcast, man. It's on iTunes. It's on Stitcher. It's on Google Music Play. And it's on the website louietnetwork.net. Farrah Cody says, that's like the Steelers trading Antonio Brown, LOL. Stupid. Yeah, it is. It's like a team taking their best player that's an all-pro. And it's one thing if you trade a wide receiver. Wide receivers impact the game, but you can find other guys. There aren't many Antonio Browns in the league, but you feel like you can find another guy. Edge rushers, not so much. Pass rush is at a premium in this league. There aren't many guys that can do what Khalil Mack, what Von Miller, what Aaron Donald can do, what J.J. Watt when he was healthy can do. There aren't many guys that can put up those kinds of numbers and disrupt a game without even touching your quarterback like those guys can. Khalil Mack might be the single best run defending outside linebacker / defensive end in the league. And it may not even be close. We're not even talking about his ability to get after the quarterback. I'm just talking about his ability to stop the run. He's dominant in the run game. Then he adds to the fact that he can get to the quarterback. Long Meat Pause says, why was the hype around John Gruden this high in the first place? Because he won a Super Bowl. Anytime a guy wins a Super Bowl and then gets fired or leaves the profession, it's almost like how the backup quarterback is the most popular guy in town. And the legend of that quarterback grows to these ridiculous heights because the starter stinks and everybody thinks the backup can't be any worse. So they blow this guy up and they turn him into the next coming of Steve Young or Joe Montana or John Elway or Dan Marino. And then the backup gets in and you realize this guy was a backup for a reason. He stinks. That's sort of like what we do with coaches that win a Super Bowl. You remember what we did with Bill Cowher when he retired, with the Steelers, and all of a sudden his name would come up every year and everyone would go crazy. Oh, Bill Cowher, man, I would do this to get Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher was a good coach, but Bill Cowher doesn't move the needle for me. He was a really good coach for a really long time, but he's not a game changer for me. So we do this all the time. Tony Dungy, same thing. If Tony Dungy said he wanted to coach tomorrow, you'd have everyone going, oh, man, we want my team to get Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy was really good as a coach. Don't get it twisted. But Tony Dungy is Tony Dungy. Like, same thing with John Gruden. He's really good, but he's John Gruden. Like, I didn't see what was the big deal myself. So, anyway. Double A says, they were so close. Should have never gotten rid of Del Rio or Musgrave. Watch what Musgrave does for the Broncos this year. It was essentially as simple as this. Del Rio went out, got Marshawn Lynch, and allowed Marshawn Lynch to be Marshawn Lynch. And because of that, he lost respect in the locker room. Marshawn Lynch was allowed to do whatever the hell he wanted to do, and the players saw that as a sign of weakness. Because if you can't discipline him and get him to buy into what we're doing as a group, then we don't respect you, and you got to get the hell out of here. And so they pretty much ran Jack Del Rio out of Oakland, did the players. And it ended up being for the worse because, like you said, they were so close. They were right there. Just think about how that one injury changed everything. If Derek Carr doesn't get injured, they're probably going to go to the AFC Championship game where they'll meet New England, and no telling what happens in that game. But you don't fire a coach 1 year removed from an AFC Championship game. And I'll take it a step further. If Carr doesn't get hurt, then the Raiders probably don't have the hangover that they have the following year. So everything changed off of that injury, and now look at the direction that this franchise has gone in since that injury to Derek Carr in Week 16 versus the Colts in 2016. It's amazing how that has impacted this team and where they've gone since then. It's just amazing. Vlad Tapper says, Aaron Donald is the best player in football, period. Non-quarterback, I'd have to agree. BK Soldier 2018 says, just means Blake B and the Jags don't got to worry about him in the AFC. Nope, they don't. You still got to play him every 4 years, but it's not the same as, having to play him just about every single year. Michael Mulford, I agree with you, and I talked about that in my other video. I wouldn't give Howard or Fuller away in the deal. The Raiders could ask, they could inquire, but you also have the right to say no. I'm giving you 2 first-round picks. That's worth a lot. And if you need me to sweeten the pot, I'll throw in a 5th-round pick or something later in the draft. But no, I'm not giving you one of my players that I feel like can be a cornerstone of my football team moving forward. I'm not doing that. So we'll see. The Gaming Angel says maybe the Raiders like Maurice Hurst. Yeah, you can like Maurice Hurst and like Khalil Mack too. It's okay to like both. You don't have to pick one or the other. So Dante Brown says, we wouldn't be having this conversation if my Rams picked Mack number 2 overall rather than giving Greg Trash Robinson. He said we'd have both Mack and AD. Yeah, I'm trying to think. That was the 2013 draft. I don't know if you would have been... Yeah, you're right. That was the same draft. You had 2 picks in the top 13, I believe. Shit. Yeah, you would have. You couldn't have known Greg Robinson was going to be horrible, though. And you needed a left tackle at the time. But, damn, think about that. You wouldn't have been able to pay both of them, though. That's the problem. You wouldn't have been able to pay both of them. Something would have had to give. Something would have to give in that situation. You wouldn't have been able to pay both of them and still pay a quarterback and still pay Todd Gurley. It wouldn't have happened. But that would have been fun to watch. Vlad Tapper says, this is like Atlanta trading Julio Jones. He says, I'm so sorry, Raiders Nation. And that's the The bad part is the fans just they get caught in the crossfire when something like this happens. My best friend basically said, "Man, Khalil Mack was my favorite player on the team. Like one of my favorite Raiders of all time." He said the best player I've ever seen in a Raiders uniform. You know, obviously he doesn't go all the way back to the 70s when the Raiders were in their heyday, but he's saying, I've been watching the Raiders for over 20 years. This is the best player I've ever seen in a Raiders uniform, and he's gone. It's crazy. Wow. Extreme Archery USA says the Redskins cut Maurice Harris. I think that concussion thing was real. I really do. And if they cut him, they may have still kept 6. They might still keep Brian Quick then, or they might just roll with 5 receivers. We'll see. That's interesting. BK Soldier says, you think that since Mack is off the market, teams could try to get in on Dante Fowler, and if so, for what? Yeah, I mean, Fowler was in a different market than Mack anyway. I mean, the asking price was 2 first-round picks. I mean, not too many people were going to be willing to part ways with 2 first-round picks. That's not the asking price for Dante Fowler Jr. So, you know, if teams are interested and they know that unlike Mack, he comes with headaches off the field. He comes with headaches on the field. He's a walking personal foul penalty. He's a guy that gets in trouble off the field. He's a little bit of a head case. So you've got things that you have to take into consideration, but he's extremely talented and he can get after the quarterback. So, and he's a guy that also had major knee surgery before. So a lot of things to take into consideration when considering a guy like Dante Fowler Jr. But that being said, the guy is talented. And so you probably can get a second-round pick. You're not going to get your first-round pick back. But you could probably get depending on how desperate a team is, you can probably get a second-round pick for Dante Fowler Jr. I don't think you will. I think ultimately, if a team is smart, they'll find a way to finagle a deal there and finagle the trade with only giving up a third-round pick at worst. But if you're Jacksonville, I'm not taking anything less than a second for him. Preferably, I'd like to get my first-round pick back, but because of all of the things I just mentioned that you have to consider with him, you can't expect a team to just fork over a first-round pick. So, all right. So Extreme Archery says, my bad, I got it from a bad source. He's still there. I didn't think that sounded right. I think if he's healthy, now again, if the Redskins are worried about the concussion, then it could happen. But if the concussion situation isn't something, and Jay didn't sound very concerned about it, I can't see him not making the Redskins roster. So that's going to do it, guys. I stepped over my time limit, but it doesn't matter. This was worth it. I'm still blown away. I'm still wowed and floored by this trade. Someone just said the quarterback is more important than the defensive player. Facts. That's a fact. But just as important is a guy on defense that can get after the quarterback. If you ask me the pecking order of positions in football, quarterback is 1. You could argue left tackle is 2. But if you said pass rusher was 2, I wouldn't disagree. I would say you're not wrong. You want to protect your quarterback, so left tackle might be 2nd. But if you said, hey, this is a passing league, you got to get after the quarterback, I would say you're not wrong. So there's that. But in any event, man, that's going to do it for this live stream. You guys reacted to the trade. It caught everybody off guard. And I'm just surprised. I am really, really surprised. And honestly, I'm somewhat disappointed in the Raiders, to be honest with you. I'm not a Raiders fan, but I'm really disappointed because these types of players, they don't come along very often. You got lucky enough to get one. And you had to be bad to get him. You earned this player, and in 1 year with a new coach, he's gone. I just, if I'm a Raiders fan, that's disheartening. So that's going to do it for your man Louie T. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe to the Louie T Network if you haven't already done so. Make sure you share this video. And also, make sure you check out all of the different things that I have going on. There's a podcast, Louie T Network podcast. There is a football pool that I'm doing on the website, a weekly one. There's a year-long one. And there also is a survivor pool that I'm doing on my website, louietnetwork.net. So check all of that out. Be sure to check out the Louie T Network podcast. Again, available on Stitcher, iTunes. Also available on Google Music Play and on the website, louietnetwork.net. I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. See you guys next time. Have a good one.
Louie T Network.